Hello. Today is Memorial Day, hence the background. I found a nice picture of Arlington National Cemetery, which is where many um, United States servicemen and women are buried um, in Washington, D.C., or Arlington, actually. And so after your barbecues and throwing footballs and whatever else you do, just take a moment to remember those that have given their lives for us. I'm definitely late. I was gonna do this at 3:45 and then 5, and things happen. So, all right. We're going to take a look at some cool photographs that I took at an air show, and check that out. So come with me for a little journey as we go look at some cool aircraft from a variety of eras over the years. All right. All right. First picture is super overexposed because I was using manual settings and they were not right. Stay with that one. But you can see a reenactor all dressed up in paratrooper gear. Oh, let me move myself out of the way a little bit. I didn't get very many other pictures with the paratroopers, which is unfortunate. They were going to do a live jump with traditional World War II gear, but it was too windy on the drop site, so they scrubbed it. Got some pictures of some flags that were out there. Here's one of the C-47s. No, I think there was only one C-47 out there, but you can see the paratrooper reenactors in the airplane. Such a cool old airplane. It's great to see those old warbirds still flying. There they are. That's not a great picture. Um, then there were some F-15s flying around, and those suckers are very loud. And F-15s are huge. I mean, when you see them flying up in the sky, you don't realize it. I do have some pictures of them on the ground, and you just realize how big they are up in the air. These pictures are all taken with my, I guess we can push this fancy button here. This is Darktable, by the way. It's a free open source, similar to Lightroom, if you're familiar with that. And the camera's a EOS Rebel T2i Canon. So, and it does 5184 by 3456 photos. And that's a pretty cool shot there. I really like being able to see the exhaust coming out of the engines. I find that's pretty cool. F-15s are definitely they're definitely one of those airplanes that are just super cool. They basically were developed because the Russians were saying, we're making this amazing fighter jet that can do this and that and the other, and we were afraid that, oh man, we don't have anything to counter them, and so we built something that could counter them and was a lot more capable. Welcome in. We're looking at some photos I took of an air show, at an air show, I should say. these were F-15s that were flying around at the air show. There were, I think, there 3 or 5. I don't remember how many five. There were flying F-15s, and then there were static ones just on the ground that you could go look at. A lot of displayed airplanes. Um, I think, does it tell you the lens? Yeah, it's a 55 by 250 millimeter telephoto lens that I used. I am not a professional photographer. I got interested in photography and bought a camera used and got some pointers and kind of figured out how to use it, and I do the best I can. So anyway, I think this one turned out pretty cool. MO stands for Mountain Home. So these are from Mountain Home. Um, Buccaneers. They got the skull and crossed swords. Very cool emblems. Got the 2 crew members, pilot and um, electronic weapons intercept officer. I think that's what they're called. I could be totally mistaken. If you know, put it in chat. Just gorgeous jets. Kind of a partly cloudy day that day. So you'll see some blue sky, you'll see some gray sky. There's kind of a mix. I'm gonna go through some of these pretty fast because a lot of them are similar. Because a lot of the shots I don't think I ever did burst shots. I just did just hit the trigger pretty quick because you know you never know exactly what shots are gonna turn out and whatnot. Um, so then the C-47 came right above center field, and so I got some cool underbelly shots of them. I changed the shot to the camera setting to the like sport mode because then you get less blurring of the aircraft. The only thing I dislike about that is on propeller planes, it basically freezes the propellers, which uh, it's good and bad. I kind of like it when the propellers are kind of a round blur, but then other parts of the airplane might be blurry. So, you win some, you lose some. So yeah, I got some really cool up close shots of the C-47. You can see the landing gear are not completely enclosed. It's kind of cool. And then they've got the tail wheel that doesn't retract. A little blurring on the propellers. By the end of the day, my neck hurt from looking up so much. And then I turned around. My goal with taking pictures of airplanes in flight was get them in the frame. That was number one goal. Get them in the frame, get them in focus. I like this one. This one turned out pretty cool. If you do this, color, no, color correction. Levels. It'd be great if I knew how to do this stuff. No, that's not it. Uh, I was trying to make it like look like a World War II photo just by desaturation, but whatever. We don't need to do that. Anyway, that one ended up a little blurry, which happens, but it is an older camera, but it still takes great pictures. That one turned out really good. We had, I would say seats, but I think I sat for 20, 30 minutes the entire time I was there. I was standing most of the time, craning my neck, trying to get shots of airplanes. I wish we could have gotten cool shots of the paratroopers jumping out, but the wind was a little too strong. Now here's the Thunderbirds. These are F-16s. Very cool jets. They were parked on the taxiway just across from center field uh, at the air show the whole time. So I took a few shots of them just sitting there static. F-16s are cool. What's crazy is these are like 60-year-old aircraft now. I mean, not these examples, but they started flying in, heck, I guess I could look it up so I'm not just pulling numbers out of my rear end. um, F-16 first flight. 1974. So yeah, that's what, several years ago. And then the C-47 flew some more. I think they really wanted to do the parachute jumps, and so they flew around a few times. Okay, then these shots are really cool. These shots are 3 different planes, 1 propeller driven and 2 jets, and um, I'll tell you what they are once I get a better shot of them. Oh, yeah, they came just, and I got some really good up close shots with my telephoto lens. Just great shots. Nothing quite like getting airplanes in motion. I don't know. I love it. I'm sure they were disappointed to not be able to do the parachute jumps. But so then they had these exotic cars that were driving up and down the runways. Um, they had a couple Lamborghinis, a high-end Corvette, and there was something else. So I took a couple shots of those guys. And then they had a Mustang. And you'll notice this doesn't have the bubble canopy because this is an earlier Mustang. It's a P51C Mustang. So the ones that have the bubble canopy, the one piece, are the P51Ds. This is a P51C, which is a little bit earlier model Mustang. And they flew around. He's taxiing along the runway. It's restored to about World War II. And then while he was taxiing, I'm like, oh, I'll just take another picture of this F-16. And then there was the C-47 landing. Got a couple of shots of that. That's kind of cool with the heat mirage. Okay, here's the 3 planes. So you've got an F-15, an F-86 Sabre, which is Korea War vintage, and then a Bearcat, I think. So World War II vintage, Korean War vintage, and then modern, all flying in formation. So you know this F-15, he's got to be just like almost stalling out, and you know the propeller plane's probably going full throttle, and the Sabre's probably going somewhere in between. Sabre jets, I love these guys. It's basically take a P-51 Mustang, put a jet engine in it, and 650 cals. Oh, Bearcat. Okay. Yes, thank you. Um, Little Meese, welcome to the stream. Appreciate you popping in. Um, but yeah, the F-86 Sabres are so cool. They're just classic first generation. Are they technically first or second generation? Little Meese. Oh, that's cool. I obviously jerked my camera up and down a little bit when I took that picture. One really cool thing about the Sabres is the amount of just sun reflection you get off of them when you take the pictures. It just looks so cool. So yeah, this formation was really cool. I like the yellow helmet. I don't know, it's just cool. F6, F1. Took a bunch of pictures of these guys. Oh, and then you'll see these ones. There's these hangers. Are they the hangers? They're definitely cover. They definitely let you work on aircraft in the shade, but they're open on the ends. Um, and so they're you'll be going along taking pictures, and all of a sudden, oh, there's this big old post in my way, you know. So not every shot is gonna, and these are not curated. I did not go through these beforehand. I mean, I looked at them. It's privately owned. Should be tail number 90454. And then here's that C-47. Oh, that's a cool shot. You make that sepia toned or black and white. Could be just 1943, 1945. Who knows? Yeah. That one, the pickup truck breaks it. And a box truck. Taking ground shots was difficult because there's just a lot of stuff. Okay, and then here's Navy Growlers. These are electronic warfare um, fighters. They did some cool aerobatic maneuvers. This was a cool demonstration they did. That was them just taxiing along the runway, or the taxiway, I should say. Where we were standing was just on this taxi, on the edge of the taxiway. And then there's more of the C-47. Oh, Colonel Furkovich and Major Tyndall. Yeah, we definitely had cool places to see all this stuff. Yeah, those aren't the greatest pictures there. Lighting was a little difficult. Kind of a cool picture. Unfortunately, I think these kind of pictures look better when there's a little bit of separation between the jets. Or, well, I would say jets, but those two are jets, and that one is not a jet. The aircraft. That's a cool shot. So then they had static displays. And then the Sabre went flying around by himself. That was pretty cool. That's a few different shots of him. And these jets don't have afterburners. They are just straight up, you know, they have idle power and then full power. They don't have afterburners. And there's our F-15. Oh, that's a great shot there. And so's that one. Uh, that's why you take a lot of pictures, because not every picture is going to be a great shot. I kind of like that one. It's not bad. Shows you how dark gray the F-15s are. Oh, and then there's the P-51 Mustang. He did some cool maneuvers. Oh, there's his landing gear going in. Then they had this weird jet-powered car. So it's like a drag racer, like you would see at a regular funny car drag strip, but instead of just a big, nitro engine, that you'd see, it's a jet engine. Totally ridiculous. It shoots giant plumes of smoke and exhaust. It was kind of silly but fun. See, it would shoot out these big old gouts of flames out the back, which is kind of cool. And there's the P-51. Very cool. World War II fighter. A lot of shots of him. Really just amazing that these old planes are still flying. And the sounds they make, it's just obviously got somebody's head in the way or arm or something in the way. But that's what the miracle of cropping is for. I can crop that if this is the one I want to keep or print. I'll probably print some of these, the better ones. It'll take a while to go through, but you know. I like the way the light and shadow plays on the plane. It's really cool. It's one of the exotic cars. McLaren, that's right. They had a McLaren, Lamborghinis. They did some sort of drag race between these guys and some of the jets at some point. Silly, stupid fun, but that's a cool shot. I like how the propeller blades are kind of blurry. Nothing quite like old warbirds flying through the air. Classic. He's coming the other way. Very cool. Like all sorts of airplanes, but Mustangs, P-51 Mustangs are definitely up on the list of some of my favorite airplanes. As far as I know, this is basically restored as close to original as possible. What they were saying over the loudspeakers. And hats off to these pilots. It was fairly windy that day. I like this shot. Just he's coming for a landing, and there's the tower behind him. I don't know. It's just kind of a cool shot. This is a great shot here. Got some of them taxiing, the people standing in the way. That's funny. Then there's more of the fancy sports cars. They were having a lot of fun. And then, oh, there's the Navy Growlers. They went flying around. Did some aerobatics. FA, and these are the EA-18s. They're basically the same thing as an FA-18, but they have the electronic jamming warfare package. So they're the same but different. Did some cool maneuvers. You got one braking left, one going that way. And then you can see the I was gonna say exhaust, that's not the right word. It's I'm losing the word. I don't know what the word that is. It's mist or whatever coming off the jet. Definitely those are very cool jets as well. And it's really cool. You have a nice blue background and all of a sudden clouds. Just depends on which way you're looking, and then clouds would roll in. Just conditions change moment to moment. And these pilots are regular Navy pilots. They're not an aerobatics team. And they're flying pretty close. That's a cool shot with the mist on the wings. Cool. I only got one jet in that. When they break in different directions, you gotta just, it's hard to get them both. You gotta just pick one. And they'll fly right. They're basically right above you at this point, and so it's super loud. I wore earplugs because it can be very loud and cause hearing. You can see the exhaust flames coming out. Very cool. Definitely got a lot of cool shots of them. Oh, that's a cool shot with the sun glinting off the canopy right there. I like that. That one was blurry. Very cool shot there. They were far away there. Probably some shots where I was like, I could just not take them. I took about 1,200 shots at the air show, so like I've got the memory card. It's empty. I might as well just click the shutter button, go for it. I always love being able to get these shots. It's just cool. There he's upside down. There's no ground in the picture, so it's no frame of reference, but he's upside down. And there they are, landing gear, coming in for landing. And touchdown. That's a great shot. So I'm confused. They're there landing, and they're there. I wonder if those pictures are out of order somehow. They must be. I don't know, because they wouldn't have. They didn't land and then take off again, so. Cool exhaust you can see coming out. Yeah, I definitely took a lot of photos. Definitely got a lot of cool shots here. These guys, they were right above us. Like, I barely even got them all in frame there. That's fully zoomed out. Or that's fully zoomed out right there. I don't know why I've got landing shots in. I don't know. Doesn't really matter though. Okay. All right, this plane. I don't remember what this plane is. It was an attack plane that they used in Vietnam. Little Meech, do you remember what this one was? Very cool. I think the nickname was Dragonfly. And the demonstration was really cool. They did the smoke, and you'd fly up and down and do these like attack runs. That's a cool shot. Cessna A-37B Dragonfly. Definitely a very cool airplane as well. I tried to get some cool shots of the airplane through his smoke trails. Kind of like this one. This isn't your grandpappy's Cessna that flies to, commute or whatever. Kind of like this shot where it's cloud layer and then the blue sky. Then they had these demo charges on the ground, and then the Dragonfly would swoop down and do these attack runs, and they would detonate these demo charges on the ground, to simulate an attack run. It was pretty cool. So, Lumis, how have you been lately? That's a wonderful shot, all nice and blurry. It's got tandem, or not tandem, side by side seating. I love the painted mouths. There's something about big old gnarly teeth painted on the side of the front of an aircraft. It's just cool. I definitely got a bunch of pictures of this guy. And he made like smoke rings. I don't know how they did that. Obviously, some sort of pulsing of the smoke pods. And then they were, I don't know, they were doing some check or something, and that's why I was taking a picture there. So then these guys were taken off, or had already taken off. They were these aerobatic airplanes. They basically have nothing they don't need. They're super light, super fast, and they did quite the aerobatic show. They did loops and heart figure, like all sorts of maneuvers. It was pretty cool. That one's blurry. Yeah, the Undaunted air shows. RV-7, RV-8 Cessnas. Yeah, very maneuverable aircraft. They were doing some very technical and very high speed and you know impressive maneuvers. Flying information, flying over the crowd, flying like that one's not super close, but some of these they're flying pretty darn close together. So it was pretty cool to watch these guys. And they're pushing those little airplanes to the limit. They were cranking them out as hard as they can fly them. But I took some photos where I zoomed out just so you could see some of the things they were doing with the smoke. It's pretty cool. And then they rejoin, fly around in formation again, and I mean they're close. They're like a couple of feet apart is all. Just I can't imagine the amount of hours it takes to just get to where you can fly safely together like that. They did yeah, this is one's flying left, one's flying right, and they cross in the middle. Trying to get that at the exact moment is not easy shot. I like this shot. I think that one turned out pretty good. This one's kind of cool. It looks like they're just superimposed, but they're not. They're just, you know, like that. And then they're flying upside down. And he's not far. He's not far off the ground. This plane's cool. This is a P-51 Mustang, flown by a lady stunt pilot named Plum Crazy, which great name for the plane is named Plum Crazy. Um, California Aeronautical University, and she did a bunch of flying around and some cool, pretty darn cool stunts. And that is not her. That was a different plane that was flying around about the same time. Brad Worston. They were going around about the same time. They had they had not a lot of downtime. I was impressed the amount of stuff they had going on. That's a cool shot right above the tower. Unfortunately, there's something in the way. A lot of skill on display. Yeah, it's got the bubble canopy on the not well. This also has a bubble canopy, but on the purple P-51. There's those crazy race car guys. Yeah, that's the Plum Crazy. Yeah, so compared to the older P-51C that had the multi-piece canopy, this is the bubble, which is the fancier, newer, still World War II, but newer. And this pilot did a lot of cool stunts as well. There's upside down coming around. I like that shot. That looks really cool. Definitely a lot of cool shots of this P-51 Mustang. I get the whole idea. It's her Mustang. She can do what she wants, but it's kind of a little sad that it's this funky purple and not a Warbird, you know, colors like an original. But you know, whatever. I did get a lot of shots of this one as well. And while this plane was flying around, this plane was taxiing. And I don't know what this one is. I guess we can look at the tail number and it'll tell us what it is. So N1711R tail number. It's a Polish two-seat single-engine jet aircraft used in air shows. Okay, that doesn't tell me what kind it is. Polish jet. It's Renegade Aviator, AV8R. Really. TS11 Iskra. I'm guessing just looking at it, it looks like either 50s or 60s. Just the type of jet it is. It was definitely a cool looking jet. Oh, it's an experimental Iskra, but definitely a lot of cool stuff at the air show. There's Plum Crazy again. Those are not the greatest pictures there. And then I don't know what they were obviously checking something out on the Thunderbirds. So I took pictures of that. Plum Crazy doing some more crazy things. Blurry. If any photographer says, "Oh, I never get a blurry or shot or misses," no, they're lying to you. You're not gonna get every shot to be perfect. That one looks pretty cool. Yeah, the seagull was flying by, so I was like, "He's part of the air show. I gotta take a picture of him." So. Few more shots of Plum Crazy. Really kind of like the reflections on this one. You can see the clouds reflected on the skin of the aircraft. Okay. This is an it's not an F-22. That's an F-23. I took some pictures with my cell phone as well. Those pictures are not in this group. I should have put them in here as well, but um, I had a telephoto lens. I did not feel like swapping to like a regular kit lens or whatever because you know I was trying to take telephoto pictures, but I took pictures of different. That's obviously not the F-23. That's an F-15. They had static displays, obviously. That looks like a JDAM there. Little Meese probably knows what some of these are. That's definitely an air-to-air missile there. Probably an AMRAAM of some kind. And then the rest of them are ground attack munitions. How far can we zoom in? This guidance package here is probably lots. This is probably what costs the most right there. The bombs themselves are not that expensive. It's the guidance packages that are what costs all the money. Some F-15s, A-10s. This one, AIM 120. Yeah, those are big. Those are expensive as well. I don't know what this guy is. But yeah, the F-15s can carry a lot of ordnance. A-10s, the big 30 mil. So I love the mustache on it. That's just classic. Um, I looked right down the barrels of this guy. Like, you definitely don't want to be on the receiving end of those things. And what else do we have? Another shot there. Move before flight. Yeah. This the guided bomb on the F-15E is a GBU 3138. Yeah, so you can probably laser designated or some of these planes had plaques and whatnot that explained what they were, and some didn't. I think no, this is. I think this is too big to be an F5. I don't know. I know a lot about some planes, and I know nothing about other planes. And then this was that Polish plane flying around. I got a couple shots while we were looking at these. This is an F5 here. These were Thunderbirds at one point, the F5s, and then they became training planes, and then like an OP4 type plane. So, anyway, and an old World War II Warbird. Not sure what this one is. GBU 31 is GPS guided. Hard to jam satellites, that's for sure. And there's a Medevac Black Hawk. And then the Buff, the B-52. Thing's big. And then there were two of these ones. These are the Super Tucanos, which are mainly used for training. But I think there's a ground attack version, mainly used by like Brazil and stuff, I think. Oh, then the F-15s are flying around again. Medical Black Hawk is HH-60. Gotcha. Painted by so somewhere in Oklahoma painted some, I don't remember which. I think this was on the B-52. This was the OP4 guys. So they did a like downed pilot scenario where there's a downed pilot and then they needed to protect him so the bad guys didn't get him. So this was representing this is representing the bad guy's vehicle, one of the bad guys' vehicles. And then they had Blackhawk to go get him. There's the C-47 that was flying around earlier. You could go and climb up in it. I didn't because the line was stupid long. And there's the Blackhawk. I did some vertical pictures. Guess I can rotate that, but I won't rotate it right now. Or maybe, let's see if I can remember how to rotate these. I don't remember how to rotate them in Darktable, so I won't. Blackhawks are pretty cool. Oh, I like this telephoto lens. I can get some pretty close-up shots. Yep, see, they gave him AKs and like bandanas, schmogs, and whatever. And they're the OP4 guys trying to capture the downed pilot. Then the F-15s and A-10s would fly above to show of force to try to scare away the OP4. And the A-10s did it. A-10s are pretty cool. It's the unkillable aircraft. And I don't mean you can't shoot it down, because eventually you shoot enough stuff at it, you can. It's that Congress cannot kill it. They've tried. many, many times, and they can't seem to kill it. So then they did flares. So they would fly along really low and launch flares to scare the enemy. Part of the show of force. I thought, the best way to show force would be drop something on them, but whatever. What do I know? I just think it's funny that the wheels don't retract all the way. It's not like the A10 is that aerodynamic anyway. They had the same type of fake charges down on the ground. So the A10 would come in and do a run, and then the demolition charges on the ground would go off. So it was kind of cool. What you would, it wasn't like it was like, unfortunately. That would have been cool. But too dangerous with all the spectators, I guess. Then some of the bad guys had a razor they were driving around in. And the F-15s did some more passes. I like that shot. It's pretty cool. Couple of cool shots. They're swooping in, come down, and then swing back up. I don't know if this thing was trying to prove the F-15s can do close support or not, but then there were their charges. I'm guessing they were just basically bags of gasoline, basically, because big fireballs like that, like you see in the movies, are mostly burning gas. I'm going to defer to Little Meese on that because he knows about blowing stuff up. I'm going to guess this is mainly burning gas. More Blackhawk shots as they're flying about. Cool shots there. Couple of 15s. Then the Blackhawk came in for a landing. Down pilot runs up, gets on the Blackhawk, and they fly away. And then the F-15s and A-10s did a pass together. Kind of a cool shot. Took a few of them doing that. Don't see F-15s and A-10s together very often, so this was cool. And then they did one more where they blew up a whole bunch of, like a grand finale of all their. And I didn't know exactly where it was, so I tried to get it, but whatever. And then the Thunderbirds started getting in and taxiing along, and trying to get pictures of them while they were taxiing was like almost impossible. And then they started their show. And here's what was interesting to me. So they've got, one, two, three, like that. And then one of them was a trainer, I said F-15, F-16, with the extra seat, but there was nobody in it. So this jet has got a handle slightly different than the other ones because it's longer. It's going to be slightly heavier, probably more than slightly heavier. But anyway, I think this is them just taking off. Yeah, and make their diamond formation. Tried to get a bunch of pictures of the Thunderbirds. And I think I got. I really like the bird uh, painting on the bottoms of the jets. I think it's pretty cool. It's crazy how close they can fly to one another. Just I don't know. I tried my best to take good shots. I mean, look how tight they are together. It's nuts, and they do it and they don't collide, which is. I mean, they've had accidents over the years, but they do well. So it's really fun to watch these guys fly around, and they did some crazy maneuvers. And then, oh hey, there's the hangar structure again. And then after the four fly take off, they have the two solo pilots take off. Or no, there was one that took off a lot later than the others, and I don't know why, but whatever. And they take off like almost straight up. It's crazy. I like that shot. I think it turned out pretty cool. Nope, that one didn't. That's a cool shot. I really like that one. A couple of those are awfully blurry. And there we've got Thunderbirds in their diamond formation. Very cool. Oh, trying to keep them all in frame when they're moving as fast as they do. Not exactly easy. Yeah, some of these shots not great. That one turned out all right though. And some of the pictures, depending on where the sun is compared to me and compared to them, it's gonna be different. So yeah, this was difficult lighting right here. That's better. So and what's crazy is they fly for 2 years and then swap out, and so there's constantly new pilots being trained. You know, they don't do a whole new team every two. They do new team members yearly, which is kind of crazy because I couldn't imagine doing all the shows they do. You know, being on the road all that much. It's gotta it's gotta kind of stink in some ways. It's gotta be really cool in other ways, but gotta be difficult. So that shot turned out pretty cool. You know, getting in between those two hangar structures actually is kind of cool. It's so crazy how tight tightly packed they are. I mean, that's I mean, every one of them is already a accomplished pilot before they even are considered for to become a Thunderbird, and then the amount of training they do as a Thunderbird. I mean, it's kind of mind-boggling to me. Really mind-boggling to me. So that's so good. Blind trust. They have to trust the pilot in the lead position, the pilot at their left, pilot at the right. They know what they're gonna do when they call out turn, they call out brake. So good. I'm gonna have to print. I think maybe that one. I don't know. I'm gonna have to go through these again. I'm not gonna spend all that time on each one on each photo to figure out which ones are the best. That'll take too long. Then they have these other two pilots, and they spend so much time upside down. It's crazy. You're on this knife edge. So this, yeah, very cool. It's very cool how they can fly that close and that fast, hundreds of miles an hour. That's another cool shot. That one didn't turn out, but that's okay. Not every shot's gonna turn out. Yep, that didn't turn out either. I think this one was we could hear them coming from behind, and so I was just like, I'll take a snapshot of that flag, and it didn't turn out. Gotta love the red, white, and blue color scheme. Very classic. Definitely got some cool shots here. Definitely glad I went to the air show. I hadn't been to an air show in a long time. I think since I was a kid. People say, "Oh, they're free," and it's like, well, free, but you pay taxes. But whatever. It's fine. I don't want to know how many thousands of dollars worth of jet fuel gets burned, but it's all good. It's all good. We spend government money on a lot dumber things than jet fuel. That's for sure. Every year. Oh, and then they start adding in the other jets. Oh, and then I think was that all of them? They crisscross together. Yeah, it's crazy. Definitely a lot of cool formations that they fly. That shot was kind of cool, passing the sun and the smoke lit up. They're definitely not as tight with the 5 ship formation instead of 4, but that's understandable because they practice the 4 like crazy. And then they do. Is this where they do all 6? This is where they peel off 1. I think this they call the missing man. Definitely different live, but I'm glad I took the shots. And there's all of them together. That's a very cool shot. I like that. Definitely worth the sunburns. I even applied sunscreen twice and had a big hat and schmog and long sleeve shirt and still got sunburned. What do you do? Definitely some really cool shots there. Gotta fast forward through a few of them. Okay, this is one of their signature moves. They all break. They're coming right at you, and they break. And I tried to catch them as long as I could. I'm sitting here zooming my lens out by hand, and I think I caught a pretty good shot there. And then they reconverge. So it's pretty cool. Love the hats. Problem with not getting the very front row, but would have had to be there stupid early. Do what you can. And that didn't turn out like I thought it would, but whatever. This is the high bomb burst, which is kind of their one of their finale maneuvers. Um, very cool, where they separate in the 4 different directions, and then they cross right at Parade Center. And I think that shot pretty much covers it. They're just right there all together. It's pretty crazy. So, tried my best taking the best shots I could. And that was it. That's all of them. So, thank like to thank everyone that came and watched me go through all these photos of the Thunderbirds doing their amazing maneuvers and all the other spectacular jets and propeller planes. And just cool stuff that was there. Definitely grateful for all those that have given their lives for this country, and appreciate those who serve and continue to serve. So I think that's where I'm going to end things today. So thanks for going on this little journey with me. I think we'll end it on this shot. That's a really good one right there. Everyone, take care.